Jamaica Livestock News segment today includes an overview of the small ruminant sector, a recent survey that was conducted, and important tips with Mr. Khalil Brown.
Good day, producers. I'm reporter Khalil Brown, and thank you for tuning in to Jamaica Livestock News. Today we'll be reporting on the current trend in livestock of enterprise, the small ruminant industry. How is it that small ruminants has become such a trend in enterprise? I believe the importation figures and the price per pound shows that this traditional practice now is a very lucrative business. In 2018, starting reporting that we imported close to $568 million worth of chevron, which is goat meat, while we imported close to $1.6 billion worth of sheep meat. The closest production data that I could find was from a FAO consultant in 2018 that collected data from 2000 to 2016. The data indicates that in 2016, Jamaica produced merely 1,068 tons of goat meat and 12 tons of sheep meat. And we can call this registered meat, meaning that the data was collected from an abattoir. You know, we have a tradition of slaughtering in our backyards, which would not be collected in this data set. So imports for 2016 for sheep was 1.9 million tons and close to 1,000 plus tons of goat meat. The data also revealed fluctuating production figures locally from 2000 to 2016 for both meat types. There was a spike in production in 2009, a spike in production in 2011 for sheep meat, which I think could be attributed to government investments or projects. So what is required to capitalize on this billion-dollar subsector? For one, we have to look at government policies and framework. First, we need a private-public partnership to develop the inputs and the specialized services required to drive this sector forward. With the above mentioned in place, now we can look at developing the small ruminant value chain from the producer to the end product, and also development of commercial farms. So let's speak to a way forward to develop more commercial farms across Jamaica. But we have to first look into what is the required number of breeding females necessary to meet the percentage of imports that we want to achieve. This would require some conservation of our breeding females, as in I would require not slaughtering females for the next 10 years, and also to purchase some live breeding females from some reputable source. With all this, if this was supposed to be achieved, we then look at what we call a national breeding strategy, a national nutrition program, health, and the required infrastructure to support this type of system. But let's be realistic. A reality that we should face is that for ruminant production in Jamaica, the aim for economies of scale will never be a luxury that we would have. However, with intensive livestock production, this gap can be filled. So let's begin here. Let's aim for, say, 10,000 tons, which can be achieved with 120 farmers with 300 breeding females, aiming for the basic production standards, meaning mortality rate, conception rate, etc. This is, however, still less than 1% of the volumes that we import yearly. The subsector is, however, busy, as the price per pound and the potential value-added products like the premium cut meats, milk, cheese, etc. makes goat rearing one of the most lucrative livestock enterprises in Jamaica, including the short-term return on investment compared to cattle. Sheep and goat is no longer the poor man animal, but now the business of choice. Let's now move into our segment 2, which speaks to our survey results. Recently, our team conducted an online survey focused on small ruminant producers. Small ruminant means our sheep, goat, and rabbit producers. It was done using Google Forms and was distributed by Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, Snapchat, and all the social media platforms that we currently communicate on. I can report that we had 136 respondents for part 1 of the survey, and we're just at 30 for part 2. So guys, please go and check our Facebook page and participate in part 2 of our survey. So from the over 25 questions, we will quickly discuss few for this segment. First, let's talk about the farmer landscape. It was about 59% of the participants I would regard as new entrants, meaning they were 1 to 3 years inside goat rearing, which is expected, as in the group that I targeted was more for farmers seeking information, seeking for guidance. This is also a positive signal for the industry, as the more players we have could lead to a further expansion of the subsector. This is also discussed on the parishes that participate. The winning parish for this survey was St. Catherine, followed by St. Elizabeth, then Clarendon. And based on data collected from RADA, St. Elizabeth and Clarendon are the parishes that is known to have the most small ruminant population. The last but final segment, which is very important, is our animal health question. And the reason I selected this topic was based on the large killing season that we've been having and the increased rainfall across the islands. The final survey topic speaks to the use of vaccine for your sheep and goats called the Vaccination 8. This vaccine protects the animals from a clostridial bacteria that can cause a common problem in Jamaica. It causes tetanus, aka lockjaw, and the common symptoms are muscle stiffness. This vaccine is available at the hyperstore, however, has to be consulted and prescribed by your vet, or you can check our hypervet. The survey reported that 36% of the participant animals are not vaccinated, and another 32 only had some animals being vaccinated. This is an indication of the potential threat of disease to the small ruminant sector and also the possible high mortality incidence that's being observed out there in the field. We need collection of this data, better monitoring, so we're hoping to find that Mr. Pathologist can come and solve this problem. The vaccine programs for your sheep and goats will begin at talking about at weaning 2 to 3 months. You want to give them first shot and a follow-up shot. You also want to give your annual booster vaccination to your pregnant females and also to your males. However, consult with the vet for the proper recommendations. Speaking about the vets, let's check in with Dr. McHugh via phone on his farm visit to discuss our farm tip today, sponsored by Farmer Khalil. Dr. McHugh, are you there?
Alright, so, ready?
Ready, man.
Alright, so, going to demonstrate vaccination in goats using Vaccination 8. So, I like to use at least 1 needle per animal, and as well as I like to just give a little sterilization of the area with alcohol or 1% iodine, tap on the skin. Tend to feel for muscle anywhere in the neck, pre-scapular neck region, and you, with restraint, with help of someone assisting you restraining the animal, physically restraining the animal, you go perpendicular to that area that you would have sterilized, not at any angle. And ideally you want to pull back to ensure that you're not in any blood vessels. So I'm all clear, no blood coming back into my syringe, in my aspirate. And I'm going to give him his booster shot. So that's 2 ml of Covaxin. Alright? And there you go. We sterilize with a little 1% iodine and changing the needle, of course, and that's to minimize the chances of injection site abscesses. Alright? And we go in. It's a very small goat, so the needle doesn't have to go all the way in. And you give him his 2 ml. And you massage it just to get even dispersal in the musculature, right? To minimize any reaction in the area of injection site.
Thank you, Dr. McHugh, for that lovely demonstration to our farmers. And thank you guys for tuning in, and see you next time on Jamaica Livestock News.